Alright, what's good all day, fam? Week 13 is officially in the books. And we gotta talk about what the hell happened today. We're starting with Sunday Night Football because that game was way closer and way uglier than anyone expected. Now, I expected the game to be pretty close. I said that, tonight's primetime game, the Broncos and the Commanders, I said this was going to be a slugfest, and just like I predicted, this wasn't going to be some high-flying offensive. Well, it actually was. The Commanders won. The Broncos won 27-26. So it was kind of a sort of a high, I guess you could say a high offensive game, but high scoring game. But it was, I think it was more about both defenses kind of letting up. But with that being said, the Commanders defense played very, very well. The Commanders as an entire unit played very well. So I said that the Commanders was going to beat the Broncos 23-12. And I was wrong on that. The Broncos won 27-26, but Marcus Mariota, man, he showed out. He showed out. He played very well. I don't think I've ever seen Marcus Mariota play that well in his entire year, in the entire career being in the NFL. And one thing that I think needs to be taken into consideration when Jaden Daniels gets back, would they switch the way they coach the game, or will they keep it the same? Because I think the formula of what the Commanders' approach right now of these games, I think it's definitely a recipe for them to start winning. Now, Zach Ertz, he had some key drops in this game. I feel like if he probably would have capitalized on some of the catches. Well, I can't really so much say that, because even with those drops that he had, the Commanders, Marcus Mariota, he came back right after the next play or two, and he made big plays. He fired down the field. He was pushing the ball down the field, and Deebo Samuel has stepped it up with the Commanders. Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin are starting to actually form a good wide receiver duo, and Marcus Mariota is taking advantage of both of them, and the play calling for the Commanders was really up to par tonight, and the Commanders should have won this game if Marcus Mariota probably would have tossed the ball a little higher, and I think it was Frankie Louvu, if he didn't, not Frankie Louvu, no, Bonito. If Bonito didn't, Bonito, he tipped the ball, but I feel like if Marcus Mariota probably would have, elevated the ball just a little bit more, he could have came on top. He could have got that. And I think it was it Zach Ertz, or was running the running backs in the flat, and they could have scored, and they could have won the game. They went for two, and I think it was a good decision that they went for two, and I think that let's talk about the Broncos, because the Broncos are obviously a very well coached team. The Broncos are winning very close games, and that says a lot. But the fact of the matter is that I think the Broncos' ways are going to eventually catch up with them. A lot of people think the Broncos can win a Super Bowl. A lot of people think the Broncos are going to go too deep in the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can understand why people will say that. But what I am saying is that I don't think that Bo Nix is going to be able to carry them deep into the playoffs and have them win a game, have them win a Super Bowl. I don't see that happening. And time will only tell. When they play really better teams, they play teams they play teams that knows how to win just as much as they do, or that could play defense just as good as them. They're not going to win. I don't see the Broncos beating the Texans. The Texans has just as much of elite defense than the Broncos do. Now, and I will say I would trust C.J. Stroud, even though he struggles. I will trust C.J. Stroud over Bo Nix. I would. I will trust I was about to say I would trust the Houston Texans offense more than I would trust the Denver Broncos. I would, yeah. I think I would trust the Houston Texans offense better than I would trust the Denver Broncos offense. I like Sutton, but I also like their receiver. I also like the Texans receivers as well, and I think the Texans has a better receiver corps than the Broncos. Now, with that being said, I think that when the Texans they bring that fire to the Broncos offense, Bo Nix is going to make some serious mistakes, and he's going to cost them. He's going to cost the team to lose. So I'm just saying if they play against a team like that, if they play against the Patriots, I think the same thing. So I don't really see the Broncos going deep in. The Chargers, they know how to play very well against the Broncos, so I'm pretty sure the Chargers can sweep them. I think they can. And if the Chargers play against the Broncos in the playoffs, I think the Chargers can beat them too. I do. I think the Chargers can beat them again in the playoffs. But time will tell. Time will tell. And speaking of the Chargers, Justin Herbert, he got a serious hand injury, so hopefully he can be fine. I know Jim Harbaugh said that he's going to have surgery on Monday, so hopefully he won't have any extended time. Hopefully he can play Monday night, because I would like to see Justin Herbert against the Eagles defense, against the Eagles. But if not, hopefully Justin Herbert can be back in a week or two. We'll see. So let's go. Yeah, and so if I were to say who can go to the Super Bowl right now, I would probably say for the AFC, I mean, it's hard to tell for the AFC because the AFC right now is just wide open. It really is. It's wide open. I don't think it's just a cakewalk for the Broncos. I mean, I would love to pick the Chargers, but I just don't know how much that offensive line can hold them. I know Marion Hampton is coming back, and I don't know how serious Justin Herbert's injury is. Originally I would have picked the Chargers. My heart kind of goes with the Patriots. I think maybe the Patriots can make a run. I do. I think the Patriots can probably make a run for the AFC. And NFC, I will say it's between the Seahawks and the Rams. I think and if I were to pick, I would say the Seahawks. I would say it could be the Patriots and the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I see that right now. It would be a rematch. I think the last time the Patriots played the Seahawks, I think it was the Patriots won, right? It was that Russell Wilson throw. Everybody, that controversial throw, and everybody was saying that he should have run with beast mode. So the Seahawks should have run with beast mode. So I can see it shaping up New England in Seattle. I can see that shaping up. So, only time will tell. Let's see what the Chargers can do. I think the Chargers could sneak in there and make a run if they can keep Justin Herbert upright. I think if they can keep Justin Herbert upright, and if that defense plays lights out, the Chargers are built to beat anybody. But we got to see, man. We got to see how much that offensive line can hold up. We got to see how healthy Justin Herbert is. And we got to see how consistent the defense of the Chargers are, because the Chargers defense is very inconsistent, extremely inconsistent. So we just got to see. So right now, if I were to pick my Super Bowl pick, I would say the Patriots and the Seahawks. And I will say the Seahawks beats the Patriots maybe like 27 to 25, I'll say. I think that'll be a pretty good Super Bowl. All right, so let's see. Look, we got the Rams. Let's go into the earlier games for my full reaction for the earlier Sunday games. We got the Rams first game. I'll say the Rams and the Panthers. I said the Panthers was going to beat the Rams 27-19, and that's exactly what happened. I said this was going to be a trap game, and what I said was exactly right. Carolina, they are a very inconsistent team, but Carolina, they play well when they need to play well. They play well against teams that they were not supposed to win. And let me see what these scores are. Give me a second. Let's see. All right, so let me see. Let me pull it up real quick. All right, so let's see here. I need to look. I'm gonna pull up the exact scores because I want to compare my scores. So, what did I say? Anyway, so I said, let's see. All right, so Carolina. Yeah, so I said Carolina. I said Carolina was going to beat the 49ers 27-19. That's what I said. 27-19. And no, not 49ers. I said Carolina was going to beat the Rams 27-19. And Carolina beat the Rams 31-28. So, I was right on the team that won. I was kind of a little bit off on the score. The Rams offense played a little better than what I thought they was going to play. But Carolina, they came on top 31. They put up 31 points against the Rams defense. See, that's what I was saying. I told you all in the last video, I was saying that, this could be a trap game for the Rams. I literally said that, you're going to be traveling across the country, going into Carolina, just like how Carolina traveled across the country, going into San Francisco, and they lost. And I took that in consideration. And I also said before, I said this many times before, that Carolina is a team that can beat. If they show up, they're very inconsistent, but they're built just like the Falcons. I feel like they're built to beat any team. They just don't execute every single week. And I said this last video, I was saying that Bryce Young and the whole entire team, they are so inconsistent. But when they're rolling, they are rolling. They can beat anybody. And everybody was all over the Rams, jockstrap, was all over the Rams nuts. And now the Rams lost to Carolina. Everybody's kind of off the Rams now. I'm not off the Rams. I think the Rams is still a good team. I think the Rams can still win some games. I think the Rams can still make a run deeply into the playoffs. And I think they might end up losing to a team like Seattle or something. I think it might take a team like Seattle to beat them. But the thing about it is that I don't think that, like I said, I don't think that they're The thing about it is the Rams just don't scare me as much as Seattle does. So that's the thing. And I'm going for my boy Sam Darnold. But let's keep it pushing. I said that the Browns, let's go to the Browns and the 49ers. I said the Browns is going to beat the 49ers 21-20. And the Browns lost to the 49ers 26-8. So I was completely off on that game. So I think Shador had a pretty solid game. Let me see what Shador did. 26-8. So I think he had like one touchdown. Let's see. All right. So Shador was 16 of 25, 149 yards. He had a 64 completion rating. He had one touchdown. He threw no picks. He was sacked 3 times. So that's that. He didn't really do too much. The offense at all didn't do any too much. But let's play the 49ers. The 49ers is a pretty good team. Brock Purdy, he was 16 of 29, 168 yards, 1 touchdown. Did Christian McCaffrey get hurt? Yeah. Oh, that was passing. Christian McCaffrey was 20 of 53, 1 touchdown. So yeah, this game, I think it was pretty close in the beginning, and then it got really, then the 49ers just picked up and just ran away with the team, with the game. Because in the first quarter, it was 7-0, San Francisco on top, and then it became 7-8 in the second quarter, and then San Francisco did a field goal to close out the second quarter, 10-8, and then the fourth quarter, San Francisco just ran away with it. San Francisco scored again. They had 17-8 in the third quarter. The Browns couldn't capitalize on any touchdowns. And then the fourth quarter, San Francisco's they had another score, 23, or I guess they have 2 field goals. And then they got a touchdown in the fourth quarter, 23-8. Maybe they missed the field goal because they said 23-8, and then they had another field goal later in the game, total time, and then they had 26-8, and so they ended the game 26-8. So the Browns didn't score. They scored in one quarter, which was the second quarter, and that was it. So I don't know if it was the Browns offense just playing terrible, or was it more about the 49ers defense really rolling, really playing great, so. But I think Shador, according to his stats, he played all right, and like I said, against that 49ers defense, any quarterback can struggle. So Shador didn't turn the ball over or anything, and he was kind of efficient. So that's all we can ask for Shador. This is his second game, so as long as he just keeps getting better each week, that's all that matters. The Saints and the Dolphins. I said the Dolphins was going to beat the Saints 24-17, and the Dolphins beat the Saints 21-17. I almost hit that on the head there. I wonder what Tua did. Let's see what Tua did. I was 3 points off the Dolphins. Tyler Shaw, he had a pretty good game. 26-38, 239, 2 touchdowns. He had 1 pick. He was sacked 4 times. And Tua was 12-23, 157 yards. He had no touchdowns, 1 pick. So the Dolphins put up 21 points, and Tua had no touchdowns. So I wonder if they Yeah, so the Dolphins, they won this game by playing purely complementary football. Devon A-Chain, he had 1 touchdown. He had 1 rushing touchdown. He had a pretty good game. But I think they scored another phases of the game, which is good. The Dolphins has low key been playing a lot better than they have been. So I think that's a great sign, by Mike McDaniel. By Mike McDaniel. So what is the Dolphins' record? The Dolphins' record. The Dolphins are 5-7 right now. So right now, the Dolphins are 3rd in AFC East. The Patriots are leading the AFC East. The Patriots are 10-2. The Bills are 8-4. The Dolphins are 5-7. And the Jets are 3-9. The Dolphins more than likely are not going to go to the playoffs. Right now, they're pretty much saying it's locked with the Patriots and the Bills. And then the NFC South, since we're already talking about the Dolphins and the Saints are the last team in the NFC South. The Saints are more than likely not going to the playoffs at all. And the Falcons are 4-8. The Panthers are 7-6. The Buccaneers are 7-5. I said earlier this year that the Panthers can win the NFC South. They are 1 game behind the Buccaneers. 1 game. The Buccaneers' remaining schedule is the Saints. They should win that game. The Falcons. Now, they could lose to the Falcons because the Falcons plays the Buccaneers pretty well. But I think the Buccaneers always comes on top of winning that game. But they could lose to the Falcons, though. And they're at the Falcons. No. I think the Falcons are going to be playing in Tampa Bay. So the Falcons are very inconsistent. The Falcons has lost way too many games. But the Falcons, they could sneak one in at Tampa Bay. They could do it. But Tampa Bay is getting a little healthier. They got the running back. Chris Godwin is back. Chris Godwin had a pretty solid game. and but Tampa Bay should have lost to Arizona. They could have lost. I don't even say they should have lost, but they could have lost to Arizona. They only won by 3 points, so Arizona couldn't close the game out. And then it's more than likely is going to determine everything. The last game, I think the the Buccaneers. No, it's not the last game. They got because there's 18 weeks. They got the Falcons next. They got the Falcons on. No, they got the New Orleans Saints, and then they have the Falcons on Thursday Night Football, December the 11th, and then they have the Carolina Panthers, and then they have the Miami Dolphins, and then they have the Carolina Panthers again to close out the year. So, the Panthers, if they beat the Buccaneers twice, and the Miami Dolphins, they've been playing pretty well. Like, outside of the Saints, the Buccaneers could lose these other games. They could. But we're going to find out. We're going to see. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it goes down. But I'm just saying, I'm not saying that they will. I'm just saying that, some of those other teams outside of the Saints that they're playing against, those teams are not a cakewalk, and they're not to be overlooked. Some of those teams are now playing better than what their record indicates. So we just got to keep an eye out for that. All right, so the Falcons and the Jets. I said that the Falcons was going to beat the Jets 24-23. I think the Falcons lost this game. Yeah, they did. Which was, I said if they were going to win, they was going to win by 1 point. The Jets beat them by 2 points. The Jets beat them by 27-24. So the Falcons put up how many points I said they was going to put up, but the Jets, they put up more than what I thought they was going to put up. The Jets put up 27 points. I don't know what's going on with the Falcons, man. Like, I just really don't. I mean, they're too talented of a team to be losing games like this. It just, it's sad. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. It is a coaching problem. It really is. I mean, but, give or take, though, they do have a quarterback problem. Michael Penix Jr., when he's in, he's not really that much of a difference maker. I thought Michael Penix could be a little better than what he's playing now. And I've always said that Michael Penix Jr.'s, health was a concern of mine. And he's starting to get injured a lot, Hopefully Michael Penix Jr. can come into his own, because the Falcons are way too talented of a team for him not to. The Falcons have too much of a talented offense for him not to. And perhaps they needed a change of coach. They're probably going to need a different coach, because I don't know if Raheem Morris is that guy. I like Raheem Morris, but I don't know if he's that. I don't know if he's it. I really don't. Because he's not doing a good job with Atlanta. They were playing very well early in the season. A lot of people were saying Bijan was the best back in the league, and that quickly fell off around week 4 or 5. It's not good. It's not good at all. All right, so let's keep it pushing, man. All right, so the Cardinals and the Bucks. I said that the Cardinals was going to beat the Bucks 28-23. We had already went over this. The Bucks beat the Cardinals. What was it again? I think it was the Bucks beat the Cardinals 20-17. So yeah. So I knew it was going to be a close game, and it was a close game. I said it was going to be a 5-point difference. It was a 3-point difference. So Jaguars Titans. I said that the Titans was going to beat the Jaguars 25-20, and the Jaguars. I said the Titans was going to beat the Jaguars 25-20. The Titans was going to beat the Jaguars 25-20, and That was a bold prediction of mine. Jacksonville showed up. They showed up and showed out. They beat Tennessee 25-3. And I wonder what is the standings of Jacksonville. Jacksonville is right behind the Colts. Right now, it is really tight in the AFC South. You got the Colts standing at 8-4. You got the Jaguars standing at 8-4. You got the Texans standing at 7-5. And then the Titans, they pretty much are not going to make the playoffs. They're out of the playoffs picture completely. They're 1-11. But it is very tight in the AFC South right now between the Colts, the Jags, and the Texans. All three teams are very, very good. If I were to pick, I will say that the Texans are going to come on top. I think that the Texans, their defense is scary. They can beat almost anybody because of that defense. They really could. They have a very violent defense. I think they have the most violent and physical defense in the entire NFL. The Broncos, they probably have the best defense. They have the fastest defense. But if I were to pick, I like the Texans defense more because I like how physical their defense is. I really do. I love how physical their defense is, and their defense can really show out on any given Sunday on any offense. They really can, and they have pretty much shown that. So let's keep it pushing though. So hold on, since I talked about the AFC South, hold on, that's it. Yeah. So at first I thought the Jaguars was playing an NFC team, but the Titans, I just literally just named the Titans as a division. They're in the same division, in the same conference. But let's keep it pushing. So the Vikings and the Seahawks. I said the Seahawks was going to beat the Vikings 34-7, and I wasn't too far off. The Seahawks beat the Vikings 26-0. So I said it was going to be a blowout, and that's exactly what happened. It was a blowout. I said 34-7. Seattle beat them 26-0. I wasn't too far off. I think, I was probably like a touchdown. A little bit over a touchdown I put. Chargers, Raiders. I said the Chargers were going to beat the Raiders 23-12. These scores are very similar. Actually, the Chargers beat the Raiders 31-14. I'm very surprised the Chargers put up 31 points. I am. I didn't think, I was like, they're divisional opponents. I didn't know. I wasn't too for sure how good that offensive line was going to hold up. But they held up pretty well. Outside of that Justin Herbert injury, Justin Herbert is still getting hit. The more hits that Justin Herbert is going to take, the more likely he is to get injured. I said this earlier this year that I was afraid that Justin Herbert was going to end up getting hurt. He's hurt now, and we don't know how long he's going to be out. Hopefully, he won't be out at all. Hopefully, he'll just miss practice. But hopefully he's out. Hopefully, he's doubtful all week, and then he gets elevated to a game time decision, and then he's able to play. So, I hope Justin Herbert can play, and I hope he can stay healthy throughout the entire year. So, but it was a pretty good moral victory for the Chargers. They actually definitely left points on the board. The game actually could have been a lot bigger than what it was. The Chargers actually could have scored 3 more times and 31 points. They probably could have dropped 40, 45, but Justin Herbert threw a costly interception in the red zone. I hate that he throws these picks. He's not that type of quarterback to be throwing as many interceptions as he is, but he has been throwing a lot of interceptions lately. And I think the reason why is because of his offensive line. The time in his head is running a lot more faster than your average quarterback in the league. So he is going to be primed to make more, to throw more picks, and especially given the fact that they don't really have that much of a running game. He's throwing more, and he's getting rid of the ball a lot. He has to get rid of the ball a lot faster than your average quarterback in the league because his offensive line is so terrible. And sometimes Greg Roman, he doesn't call the right plays for our receivers to run shorter routes to help Justin Herbert out. So it hurts. It hurts Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has a lot to work with a lot working against him. And that's why Justin Herbert has a lot to do with very little, with so much against him. That's why I'm so big on Justin Herbert. If I, and I look and I think in my mind, I'm like, Justin Herbert, if he can just have just something on his offense going right, if he can just get a good offensive coordinator for once in his career, or if he can just get a good offensive line for once in his career, I'm not even asking for elite weapons. I'm just asking for a good offensive, a good coach that can call a great offense for him, and that he could have a really solid offensive line. Justin Herbert will do the rest. Justin Herbert is doing a lot right now for the Chargers. So if it wasn't for Justin Herbert, the Chargers will have a losing record. And that's why I still stand by Justin Herbert being the best quarterback in the league. The Chargers are 8-4 right now. And they're 8-4, and they're not really playing all that good football. They're really not. They're not playing that good, and they're 8-4. So, what does that tell you? The Chargers' best days is ahead of them. And let them. Next year, I'm really looking forward to next year. But this year isn't over with. They're 8-4. I think they won 9-10 games last year, I think. So we're not too far from winning more games. Yeah, I think we won 10 games, I think, last year. Yeah, I think we won like 10 games last year. So we're not too far from winning more games than we did last year. If the Chargers can just win one more game than we did last year, and if we can win at least a playoff game, I would say this year was a huge success. Because the fact that Justin Herbert won a playoff game and won one game more than what he did last year, that's huge for him, given the fact of all the injuries we have had on our offensive line. That is huge. And not only our offensive line, in our running back room as well. Kimani Abdel was a practice squad player. So he was demoted from being drafted to being he was not a third down back, but he was a third string back last year. It was J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, and then I think it was Kamani. So he got demoted to practice squad because Najee and Amari on Hampton. But now, he's picked up the load and he's been playing pretty well. But the running game still hasn't been that efficient, So, but kudos to Jim Harbaugh for keeping this team together. I kind of was on Harbaugh a little bit because I was some of the losses that we had, and I was just saying, how arrogant Jim Harbaugh could be by some of the play calling that he was allowing and that he was doing. But but we are standing at 8-4, second in our division, right behind the Broncos, and we beat every team in our division, and we just swept the Raiders. And now we got two more teams in our division to sweep, so we can have a first-class ticket to the playoffs. We got the Chiefs. Hopefully we can sweep them. And then we got the Broncos. Hopefully we can sweep the Broncos. So the Chargers' remaining schedule is, let's see here. Oh snap, week 14. Okay, so remaining schedule, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. That's our next game on Monday Night Football, December the 8th. It's a big game. Our next three games is going to be very tough. Very, very tough. And I'm gonna give you those teams right now. Let me look at the screen to the full schedule. So I just said Eagles, Monday Night Football next week. Then we got the Chiefs right after the Eagles. And then we got the Dallas Cowboys. Bro, we got a tough... Oh my goodness. We probably have the most toughest schedule than any other team for the remaining of this season. We got the Eagles. We got the Chiefs. Then we got the Cowboys, and then we got the Texans, and then we got the Broncos. All of those defenses are elite. The Chiefs' defense has the potential to be elite with Steve Spagnuolo. You never know what you're going to get out of him with this year. But the last two games, I just got finished talking about how elite the Texans defense and the Broncos defense is. I said I think the Texans defense is the most physical defense in the entire NFL. They're our second to last game. And then I just said the Broncos defense is the best defense in the entire NFL, and they're the fastest defense in the entire NFL. We got them last. But hey, when you're a coach, you're a player, you take it 1 week at a time. 1 week at a time. And the only home game we got out of all of these games is Houston. All the other games, we are all away. We can literally lose these games. And then with Justin Herbert being hurt, it's tough, man. Our defense is going to have to play lights. Our defense is going to have to win us these games. They're going to have to. None of these teams is going to have. We cannot allow any of these teams to score above 20 points. The Cowboys is going to be very scary. We might lose that game. We might lose to the Cowboys. We were in Dallas too. That will be a miracle if we can go into Dallas and win. The Dallas Cowboys has gotten significantly better. Their defense has gotten significantly better. These are going to be some tough games, man. And if I was Jim Harbaugh, I would just keep the Chargers in Texas. That might be that might be something that they might do. Oh no, they got the Houston Texans at home. So never mind. But we'll be at AT&T Stadium week 16, and then we'll be at Mile High week 18. We got the Eagles at home, and then we're going to be at Arrowhead on week 15. If we can just play elite defense on all these teams, we can win. We can win. We can win. Well, let's see, man. Let's see. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough for the Chargers. Let's see what we're made out of. I think this is where we're going to really see the elite coaching of Jim Harbaugh, because there are no easy games remaining for us at all. None of these games are easy. None of them. All right, so let's keep it pushing. What do we have next? We got the Steelers and the Bills. So I was way off on this game, and it's all right. I mean, I said that the Steelers was going to beat the Bills 26-23. So I was right about one thing on this game. I was right about the winning team scoring 26 points. But I was just wrong on which team was the winning team. I said the Steelers was going to put up 26 points and beat the Bills 26-23. But the Bills put up 26 points, and they pretty much shut out the Steelers' offense, leaving them only to score 7 points. So the Bills pretty much dominated this game, 26-7. Josh Allen didn't destroy the Steelers through the air. He destroyed them and took over this game with his legs like he mostly always does. Him and James Cook. The Bills are one of the best running teams in the entire NFL. It's still the Bears, but the Bills is right up there. So that's that. And that concludes my reaction of week 13. A lot of these games was really fun to watch. A lot of these games was really good. It was a lot of good games today. A lot of good games. And a lot of elite play. And I'm still stunned by Sunday Night Football. I'm not stunned, but I'm happy that I got that good game. I predicted that we was going to see a good game tonight, and that's exactly what happened. I was just wrong on the team that won, but I'm still happy that I was able to see that great game. And if Marcus Mariota probably would have just loft the ball up just a little bit higher, you know, or maybe even, will that him backing up, him seeing Bonito, rounding out a little bit, and then catching this running back on the flat. He saw Bonito right there, and he just lofted the ball. Bonito was long. I mean, he tipped the ball, so that was a very bad decision making on Marcus Mariota. But I can't get on him too much because he played lights out, especially for a second string quarterback. He played his ass off. He really did, and so yeah, I really like that the quarterback play that I saw of Marcus Mariota. I really do. He outplayed Bo Nix, but Bo Nix he benefits from a much better coach and a much better defense and just a much better team around him. And I like how the Commanders' defense is playing a little better. I like how they're being a little more physical. I really do. So yeah, man. And I didn't give my predictions for Monday Night Football. I realized that, and so I was supposed to have gave my predictions for Monday Night Football on my last video, but I forgot. So the Giants and the Patriots, the 2-10 Giants and the 10-2 Patriots. I'm going to say that the Patriots are going to win this game. I will be very surprised if the Giants do win this game. But hey, it's again, I always keep saying this, any given Sunday, the Giants, they have an opportunistic defense. Their defense can come out on top any time. They can play very well anytime. And the Giants sometimes historically has played well against New England. But I'm going to go ahead and give this game to the Patriots. I don't see the Patriots losing this game. And I'm going to say that the Patriots are going to win this game. I'm going to say 25-19. I'm going to say New England 25. Giants 19. That is my score. That is my final score. And that's my Monday Night Football score. And we're going to see. We are going to see what happens with Monday Night Football. And I will get back with you all on my Monday Night Recap. And that's all I have for you all tonight. And I thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Chime into the comments. Let me know how you feel, what you think about my predictions, what you think about the games. Who do you have your Super Bowl prediction? Do you think that it could possibly be the Patriots and the Seahawks, and the Seahawks coming on top? And yeah, let me know. What do you think? And yeah, thank you so much. And we'll be back very soon. Deuces all day.